I
Like,
always wanted an AK-47.
I always wanted a rope full of ears, ear
Goodness.
necklace.
Hey guys, this is a Hard Time Strong Men, raising up the bear class of man. And today we got a special guest, Ghost Element. How you doing, man? Glad to have you on the show. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, and just share where you're at.
Yeah, man. So I'm Ghost Element. Kind of run a bullshit Instagram page that just shares good information, posts good information, and talks facts, I guess. Maybe misinformation. I don't know. But
Yeah, right.
kind of in line with these guys. I'm all about creating a better man these days. Same different way, I guess. But also run a training company. Me and my buddy run a company called Future Conflicts. Do everything from bushcraft training to tactical bushcraft training with like E&Es built into
cool.
it. We have recce classes, small unit tactics. We're rolling out a basic marksmanship and like an intro to long range course as well. Yeah, man, kind of getting everything. On the personal side, outside of anything military or training related, I race cross country ATVs. I shoot competitions, fish hunt, all your normal fun stuff.
Normal cool guy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, normal cool
Yeah,
guy stuff.
normal stuff.
Yeah, normal. I totally do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. And you just got done, passing sniper school, right?
Yeah, just graduated about, I don't know, what's today, 25th, about 2 weeks ago, week and a half
Nice.
ago.
Good for you, man. Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you. It
congrats.
was a hell of a time, dude. Hell of a time.
Dude, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So yeah, and that cold, man. That screw that.
Yeah, man.
Weird choice of vacation,
I'm
but
pretty
okay.
sure all of us. Dude, honestly, I would rather do that than work a civilian job any day. It's just different.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you guys before, like I might not know anybody going into the course, but going there, getting to meet different people, and getting that good training, dude, it's you can't replace it. It's why a lot of people come to our courses.
Yeah.
They get that experience where they meet somewhat of, I guess, a brotherhood or a community, and they meet people and keep in contact with them and keep training going. You know?
Well, it's it's a very I feel like it's a very instinctive, very kind of subconscious thing, but when you're around people who are, both skilled, right, and who are driven to be better, I mean, it's just such a magnet, because you get to a point to where you're either, like the subject matter expert in your craft, and then you're like, okay, what's next? Or you don't know anything, you're just a sponge, and you're like, oh, these guys know what they're talking about. Like, these guys are serious. And, you can tell when people aren't, trying to fool you with anything, when they're not talking themselves up, when they just know, when they've just earned it. And, like, people want to be around that kind of excellence. Like, it's infectious.
Yeah, man. People, they can tell, dude. And like the thing we always tell our students, man, like you come here, you meet dudes, network while you're here, and further that training, whether it's with us or with someone else. Further, never sit static, dude. Just if you got a couple months downtime, whatever, I get it. But do what you can with your time when you can.
Yeah.
Further that training, we do the same thing as instructors as well.
Well, you can always be getting better at something. I don't really buy into the you don't have time thing. Because it's not a time factor. Everybody has the same amount of time throughout the day. It's just how you prioritize your time. So you always be working on something, and it's good to hear that you guys are not settling. That's huge. One of our core values, one of our core ethos is that we're always learning. That's why we have guys like you, our special guests, on the show. Because they bring something to the table, and we're not subject matter experts on everything. We can't be. But it's really important to bring people who are, so that you can further the conversation and get people, like you said, holistically, like that full, that rounded out picture, that full picture of the skill set and the mentality that we need to be at.
Yeah. No, dude, it's a good thing to have, man. I'll be honest with you, dude. It's hard to find people like that these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's intentional,
It's-
right? You know that.
Oh,
You know,
it's 100% attention.
you know, powers that be, they're trying to snuff that out because, you know, something that we really push is community, right? You know, decentralized community. So starting at your family, then building out to your neighbors, your communities, connecting with greater communities. After that, you know, if you're completely self-sustaining as a community, then you don't need anybody else to help you out, right? And then who are you putting out a job?
Yeah.
At that point, you know, who do you have to worry about?
Yeah.
At that point? So
Who you're not paying taxes to at that point.
exactly. I mean, it's very, you know, it's very, you know, it's very threatening to them. It's very obvious when you think about it. So it's really great that you guys are here to, you know, like you said, push that standard. So how do you guys get together, decide to put together future conflicts as we know it today?
Oh, so me and my buddy from my section and my unit. I think I kind of forgot. I blew over that in my intro, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm a 11 Bravo. I've worked reconnaissance my whole career. I went from long range surveillance to a scout sniper section after LRS disbanded. Me and him met when I went to my scout sniper section about 5-6 years ago. We've started together ever since. We kind of just came up with a idea one day. Really, I mean, mostly it was him. He was like, "Hey, man, I want to start this training company. I think there's a absence of primitive training in the military world, especially. People are too reliant on electronics and such, and like GPSs and whatnot, and they don't know how to survive anymore on their own. They don't know how to operate when comms go down and GPSs go down. I feel like we need to fill that void, you know, and not just on the military side, but on the civilian side as well. Civilians don't have a lot of these things that the military has, right? So it's applicable to both worlds. So he was like, you know, we need to fill this void. So I was like, all right, man, I'm with you. So pretty much we write lesson plans, we kick out new stuff, and we train whoever wants to train, man. It's kind of a revolving circle now. So like we have alumni that we incorporate into a lot of classes. So like if you come through, you've done a couple classes with us, and we feel comfortable with you. We know you know how to survive. You've taken our basic bushcraft class, you've taken our medical classes, you've taken our SUT class. You can at least patrol and operate in a small team. Okay, now we're holding open training weekends, and now you're like helping our CAD. Now you're helping like our new staff in our CAD tray, right? So like now you're helping our new students too. So like when new students come through, you're playing out 4 against them, or you might have like something to say on instruction. You come through and help out. You'd be like part of the group now, right? You know, we're trying to keep that going.
That's really awesome.
It's making a whole different world over here, man. It's really for the better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, hell yeah.
It draws more people in. They see it's a community, not just we're not here just here to take your money. We're not trying to rob you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Well, it's huge when you see a company who are student led. You know what I mean? Like you're providing instruction, right? You have information, you have experience that your students don't know, but answering those questions, right? Fielding, you know, these different mindsets and, you know, applying it, making it make sense. And then especially, like you said, bringing, you know, alumni in who have that different perspective than you do, you know, versus an instructor as a student, you know, being able to provide that perspective and, you know, that knowledge and provide that depth to it. I mean, that's huge.
it's different, man. Like I always tell everybody, like you can come to our class and any course and go to 3 different instructors, and each one will know how to teach it to you 2 or 3 different ways that the other one doesn't know.
That's awesome.
So like, you know, I always say like we're just like everybody else, man. So in order for us to learn it at some point, it had to be taught to us probably 2 or 3 different ways. So it just helps us. We know how to teach it 2 or 3 different ways now, and each instructor can do it differently. So like if you're having problems with one instructor and you're not learning from them, you know, go to someone else. We're not gonna get butthurt, and we keep all we're very humble. So like we're never gonna talk down to a student, right? We're never gonna be mean to a student. We're not gonna get out of line. We're not like your typical like how you see like you guys were in the military, so like a military instructor,
Right.
in any course. We're not gonna talk to you like that. You're here. You're paying us, you know, to learn something. We want you to be able to absorb that and remember it, and hopefully teach it to your family or friends down the road. You're a force multiplier at that point, right?
Yeah.
So we want you to take back what you learn and create your own community with it.
That's awesome.
So in order to do that, you have to be comfortable, right? To a certain extent. So like if you learn basic bushcraft, you know, you're going to be cold at some point, or you're going to be hot at some point, or you're going to be living out of a shelter at some point, right? So like if you're an SUT, you're going to be sweaty, you're going to be patrolling, you're going to have gear rubbing on you, you're going to be running or just like patrolling for a long amount of time. You might have an E&E at some point in one of our courses, because some of them do have them. But we're not going to add to it by being mean to you and yelling at you. Like there are other small unit tactic schools and training schools that do that, and some people like that, you know. But we treat you like an adult. You know?
Can you pay extra to get hazed?
Oh, dude, we'll go free.
No, that's really great. But
no, dude, there's plenty of trash talking. I mean, we treat you like our own. So like, just like how we trash talk each other,
fair game.
We're gonna have fun, dude. We're gonna laugh at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, you know, treating people like people. You know, that's huge. Because, you know, I don't even know how much I didn't learn in the Army, because, you know, just you feel so far below your instructor. You know, you can't even field a question, or, you know, people are telling you to shut up, or, you know, like, you know, if you don't know something, you don't know something. You know, so that's really great that you guys have that perspective, and you have multiple instructors who are able to accommodate that. That's huge.
Yeah, man. All of our staff is all either current or prior service, and all have been there, done that, in whatever they're teaching, right? So like, they've experienced that bad leadership, and there's bad instructors, you know, where they've been afraid to ask a question or afraid to make a suggestion or something. They don't want to put that back out in the community. They hated it then, and they hate it now.
Yeah. Cool.
That's the way to go too, especially because of, like, we were talking offline in the pre-show, like, there's so much toxicity in Army leadership as is. Like, you don't need to bring that outside, especially when, like you said, people are paying you to teach them this stuff. There's no reason for this toxicity to be there. I mean, there was no reason for the toxicity to be in the Army to begin with, but, you know, here we are, you know, decades down the road, and people are still getting treated like crap when, you know, these instructors are still trying to convey information in a way that should be easily absorbed by these students, because you're trying to teach them this stuff so that they can take it back to their unit and teach other dudes. But if you put the toxicity in there and you just treat people like crap, like, maybe you're not going to get the right information. Maybe you're not going to get the complete information. Some people just shut down. Like, I've seen that so often in the Army, where people are just like, they want to know, but then they just get, like, basically hazed by NCOs, and they just shut down
up,
and they don't learn a damn thing. Yes.
I tend to lose any respect I have for an instructor when they talk down for no reason. I understand if it's like in the military, if it's kind of justified, right? Like, or if it's part of the course, right? But when it's just not needed and it's just their natural human behavior, I lose a lot of respect for that guy, and I tend to not absorb information from that person. You know? So I never want to see a student of mine do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it sucks as an instructor when you see that. You know, when you're honest to God trying to, like, present information to somebody, when you're trying to make someone better, to help someone grow, and you just, you know, see them dissolve, you know, or just, like, completely clan up, and you're just like, well, now I can't do anything. You know, I lost them, and you don't know how much time it'll take for them to open back up to where you can, you know, actually, you know, give off what you need to, you know, give what you need to give them. You know, it's very disheartening. You especially want from someone that you see as your peer, when, you know, like I said, they just treat them like crap. I mean, I say, you know, we were both out, obviously, but, you know, when you're in a profession, you know, train someone like professionals. You know, you're trying to exude, you're trying to uphold a standard of excellence. You know, that needs to, you know, transfer over to your training, you know, to your training style, to your temperament. You know, everything, it all flows together.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is if you're taking time out of your point of instruction to basically just be mean to me for no reason, it's because you don't have enough to teach me. Or you don't know how to teach me.
Yeah.
That's a bigger one. So.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah. Like, that's why I shut down.
Yeah. Well, the dudes with the fragile
wrong.
with the fragile egos are, you know, like you said, they're just insecure because they don't actually know the material.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you push back to them, push back at those type of people, they don't know what to do.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So like in the military, it's interesting because like I just saw it literally at school I was at, and one of the students pushed back against the cadre and literally offered to fight him based off his behavior. Other cadre saw it, and cadre member ended up backing down and apologizing based off his behavior. So it was funny to see the whole class saw it.
Nice.
But it was, you know, and that instructor acted more humble after that for the last 2 weeks. So, you know, some people need. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I need a whooping every once in a while. You know, it's just the way it is.
Oh yeah, I deserve it. But yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but I'm still not going to just go. You know, I'm not going to talk to a student that way. I'm not going to treat a student like that. There's a line, and I don't dip below that standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
which is the way it is.
You have to uphold that professionalism. And always, you know, if you don't, like,
yes,
you know, I had a squad leader who, you know, who never raised a voice at us ever. Said that the moment I do, then I just lose credibility for you. You know, you're not going to listen to anything I have to say after that. You know, I've lowered my standard. You know, I'm not going to do that. I've worked too hard to be what I am for you to just, you know, think I'm nothing. You know, you have guys that are like that, and you have guys who are, you know, absolute dirtbags, and it's easy to see. And it's, you know, it's obvious who you'd rather go to learn something.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and who you'd rather be with, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and especially, you know, you said you're a private company. You know, people are paying to, you know, to be there. It's not like you're, you know, getting paid to hate people and make them think they're in the Army. You're getting paid to, you know, give them instruction, you know, give them information in a way that they can apply easily. And like you said, you know, grow the culture and, you know, expand and, you know, further that skill set. You know, it's too important to squander that.
Yeah. And I mean, and what's funny is we're getting ready to make a presentation to some military command and about getting some of their sections to go to some of our courses with their, you know, just to get them some more training because they're sitting kind of static and they haven't done anything because of, you know, stuff. And
yeah,
they're losing military members because they're not getting that training. They're seeking it elsewhere. They're transferring branches or they're transferring units or they're just getting out. Right. So we're trying to help them help themselves and show them what they need to do and make a presentation and get, you know, a section rolling through a month, you know, for like a 3-day course or something, you know, once a month or something. And like whether it be basic bushcraft, SUT, or just like basic marksmanship, just like a refresher or something. Stuff like a marksmanship training unit should do, but they don't have a marksmanship training unit. You know what I mean? So we're still not going to teach those students like how we've experienced in the military. We're still going to teach them how we would teach our own students, right? Even though it's military. Right. We're not going to be like that to them either, you know, whether we know them or not. You know?
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's sad because, you know, God willing, if you're able to, you know, to go through with that, you're going to be able to teach them so much more than, just a, whatever run the mill Army school that someone could throw on. Right. Because especially, you know, you're talking about like the marksmanship, like a basic, you know, intermediary marksmanship class, you know, because you're not at a government approved range. You're not having to worry about what flag is, you know, flying at what time of day. You're actually able to do your job, which is to train students. You know, we shoot ourselves in the foot so much in the government by doing that kind of nonsense. It's crazy. You know,
dude, we bat ourselves every step of the way. And it starts at getting approval to even train.
Yeah.
It starts at the risk assessment.
It's crazy. Well, and it's only if you do get
risk assessment.
And if you do get approval for that, it's only for that training. It's only for that training. It takes individual leaders to say, all right, we're not doing anything. You know, we already learned this. Let's go learn something else. You know, and there's not a lot of that going on.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of free thought and free decision making going on. And it's sad to see. We see it widely where we're at right now, and like I was saying earlier, I use the term yes man, but you see a lot of upper echelon military staff just being yes men and they're just doing what they're told, and they don't know how to think freely, and it affects us ultimately because it determines what training areas we get, what training we get, what round count we get, if we get rounds. It's if we're doing force on force, if we're having range day, if we're doing stalks, if we're doing this, we're doing that. Sometimes we can't do anything.
Yeah.
you know, and it's because nobody wants to pop the question or ask or take it upon themselves to write a training plan, go into Rhythmus, see what round counts we have, what we're allotted, and pull it or go get a hazmat certification so they can escort the ammo or do this. You know, you're having to literally do everything yourself now because, and a lot of units because the staff doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Or they don't want to see you do it.
Why would they? It's more paperwork for them.
Yeah.
It's more, you can't just hide behind your desk in your office with a closed door. You have to actually go outside and do your job.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. They have a
exactly.
job they got to do. Weird.
Right.
Weird. It's the weirdest thing about that federal money. I still don't see any good roads. I don't know.
Dude, our roads around here are horrible. And that's not just a federal problem, that's a state problem.
Yeah. So you said you guys run like basic bushcraft, sut, some stalking. So what does a typical, class, I guess, breakdown look like time wise? Like, do you guys run off of like time slots? Do you guys just go until the instruction's done and then teach something else? Like, how do you guys kind of divvy that out?
So usually it's a time slot. So like basic bushcraft is a 2-day, right? It's like usually a Saturday and Sunday for students on the weekends. We'll usually head out there on Friday and occupy the place overnight, 1 or 2 instructors. And a lot of times we invite students to come out there a day early. And a lot of them do. They'll come out, camp out a day early.
Cool.
And we got a big, like a 10-man wall tent with a wood stove in it and everything.
Nice.
For them that they want to sleep in it.
That's awesome.
Nice.
If they're making shelters, we'd like them to sleep in a shelter if they can, if the weather's good. But like last time we had it, this past January, dude, it was like -6, and it was snowing, and it was rough. We had we were worried about students getting like a cold weather injury, so we're like, dude, you're sleeping in a hot tent at night. Everyone's cool. Everyone wanted to,
Yeah.
but it was,
They're like, oh no, why?
yeah, and even in there with the wood stove, it was cold. So like that tells you a lot. And
Yikes.
but it's a 2-day course for the basic one, and like our SUT course is usually 2 days too. But you're running pretty nonstop, sun up, sundown, and sometimes after dark, like in SUT. So, it's not like we ever don't get through the point of instruction. We always get through it. A lot of times you're getting extra. I don't think we've had a single class or course where we've been short on time. We've always given extra, whether it be course related or not. It can be something as simple as, okay, we're in basic bushcraft. You know how to start a fire now. You know how to purify water. You know how to do this. You know how to do that. All right, you're starting a campfire for a night for us to cook on. Oh, you've never cooked a steak before yourself? You're going to learn tonight. We're going to show you how to cook it.
Cool.
And you're going to have conversations with people and enjoy yourself. Like in SUT, if we're doing patrolling and stuff and doing basic marksmanship, which we do in it, we do this, we do that. You might pick up something else, whether it be medically related or how to walk in the woods the correct way without, rolling your foot, walking on the edge of your foot, how to move to and from a target, move, forward and backwards, don't move left and right. You're going to pick up all these little hints and cues along the way, even though it's not in the POI, because we had the time to teach it to you, So like if we're, say we teach you buddy team bounding and buddy team break contact and this and that, well, we got extra time, so you're gonna learn an Australian peel, left, right, and back, and you're gonna learn all this stuff because we have the blanks to use for force and force, and we got time, so we're gonna have fun.
That's awesome.
Or we'll add more patrols into it, or let you make your own decisions on patrols, and
Cool.
So it's we tend to stay pretty fluid with stuff. We got a saying in the military in our section. It's just stay flexible, and because like you guys know, anything can change up to the last.
Oh
second.
yeah, of course.
And
Yep.
That's what we live by. But a lot of times, I don't think we've had one bad experience with that yet in our training company. It's always been for the better.
That's really great.
So
That's awesome.
How many students? How many students does like a typical class run? I know obviously it's going to change versus what kind of class you're running, but how many median do you say?
6 to 8. It depends. Sometimes 10. It depends on the class and the time of year. So like over the winter, it'd be like 6 to 8. Right now, we're seeing like 10 to 15.
Goodness.
Because the spring's coming, it's getting warmer out, and there's just people want to be outside a little more,
Yeah,
right? So
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How many instructors
It's
do you guys
not
run with that?
20 degrees.
Like instructor to student ratio?
So for basic bushcraft, we try to have 2 instructors, 1 medic. We have 1 medic there
Okay.
all the time. Sometimes we have a second one there. SU, like this past SUT, we had 3 instructors and 2 medics. I think we had a 12-person class, but that was while I was away at school. Yeah, man, it varies. If someone wants to work it, a lot of times they'll work it without pay. They just want to go camp out and hang out with the boys and teach people. So like, they're like, hey man, I'm not doing anything this weekend. I'm just gonna sit at home anyway. Let me come out and help you guys because they're from the section anyway and they're trained up on what we're teaching. So we were like, all right, man, here's a handbook. Review it a day or 2 before, and wherever you want to step in at, let me know. You know, and it helps them because they get out and now we have someone we feel comfortable teaching because we see them teach. So now if we got a slot, if I'm away at school or
You know who to
something,
ask.
he can take my spot while I'm gone.
Yeah.
So
And it just reinforces that course of instruction for them. You know, there's no better way to learn something than to teach it. So that's really awesome that you guys are building that community, though. That's the one thing I've gotten out of that is, you guys are very, very people, very community centered. So that's awesome.
yeah, man, we'll literally teach anything. It don't matter. If we know it and you want to learn it, just ask.
So I'm guessing you get a good mix of like both military and like civilian side in your classes, right?
Yeah, so we have a Army captain from Alaska, from what used to be 25th Airborne. I forget what they call it now. They just renamed it and redesigned it. But he's coming out all the way back over to the East Coast. He's from the East Coast, but he's coming back over here to take a class with us, a SUT class. He wants to take it back and teach his company what he learned. And then we get some military guys like on the guard side, reserve side, and then civilians. So it varies. We even have like my buddy who just retired from active duty SF he's retired from 10th group about 2 years ago. We're hosting a class out on his property out in Wisconsin here soon, like next winter probably. It's a winter warfare class, and we're gonna take him and as a guest instructor to teach what he knows about winter warfare training and cold weather stuff. And I've been to mountain warfare and cold weather, so I got that cold weather training. A bunch of our guys have, so we're just gonna make a hodgepodge of stuff, make a winter warfare class. So, like it's all that community, man.
That's great.
I always say networking is everything. Come here, meet people, get to know them. Link up with them online, whatever it is, phone, whatever. Stay in contact. Stay in contact with us because we always got new stuff coming out that we don't always advertise for, but we have a private Discord server for all of our alumni and our cadre. So we will post stuff privately in there that maybe we don't have the time to offer to public because we don't have enough time to advertise for it, or maybe we just want to keep it with alumni only, and treat it as like an open training weekend, but something cool like a night shoot, or we give you training on night vision, IR, and white light, and all that stuff. Just stuff like that pops up randomly. So, all of our alumni is in the Discord server, and we get to do cool stuff from time to time.
Cool.
That's awesome, dude. Is there any stigma about with you guys about teaching civilians kind of like military tactics and all that stuff?
There is. So you'll get people on like Instagram sometimes send you a message or commenting about you teaching like us like teaching like SUT stuff, how to patrol, how to ambush, counter ambush, teaching, I guess, like escape and evasion tactics, escape and evasion planning, stuff like that. I'm not teaching anything that's illegal to teach, right? So like in SEER school, we learned multiple things. We learned anti-captivity stuff, survival stuff, planning, everything, right? How to pick and shim handcuffs, locks, all this stuff. I'm not teaching that because I can't legally, right? But I'm teaching you everything else that I learned that I can. So you're getting everything that literally I can give you. If something else slips out around a campfire, so be it. But you're getting everything else that I can give you. So it's not like we're teaching shitbags, right? We're not teaching criminals. Everyone that comes to our course, the most part, has been vetted. If you register for our course, either you know someone who's came to our course usually, or we've had a conversation with you at some point. So, it's not like we're pulling people out of the city and that are committing crimes all day and bringing them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's different. Now, even in the military, like I just experienced it at school. One of the dudes, he was like, I was teaching one of the other guys in class how to pick like master locks. I had my lock picks up with me, and we were in the barracks having fun, and I was like, hey man, you know, you rake it like this and that. He got his first lock open in 20 minutes. And this guy was in the National Guard at sniper school. So he has a civilian career. One of the active duty guys was like, you know, I feel weird about teaching people that because you don't know what they're like. They're nefarious. And I'm like, dude, I've known this guy 3 weeks at this point. He's a penetration tester for a nuclear facility on the civilian side. He works for the Department of Nuclear Energy. Like, I know who this guy is. You know what I mean? I've seen his credentials. I know who he is. We know some of the same people. Yeah. Like, I'm not teaching anybody anything that they're not allowed to know. It's all open source. You can go online and find it. You can go on YouTube and find it. I got buddies that are lockpick instructors, you know, and they teach it to civilian people. And even they say they, for the most part, don't have any criminals coming. Like, it's not criminals coming through. They're not this. Criminals want the quick, easy way to do stuff, right? And that's usually what you get when people throw a shot at you. It's like, oh, you're teaching criminals. No, they want the quick, easy way. They're just gonna kick your door in, or they're gonna break a window, you know, or they're gonna catch you walking to your car in the morning, or you know, it's just much easier ways to do this stuff. This is very niche stuff for the most part.
Yeah, and that's an issue that we've had to run into as well with people asking us that, or you know, just like in our discernment process coming up with classes. But you know, at least in my opinion, with you know, like you said, it's too hard. You know, you have, you know, if these guys are, you know, dirtbags or criminals, they're not taking the time and the money to go out and learn these skills for nefarious purposes. They're not, because, you know, they're not like you and me. You know, they don't put that kind of effort into something. You know, it's just not how they're made up, right? And especially with the information, everything that we put out, at least, and you know, like you said, it's the same for you. I check before I put anything else. Everything that I, you know, put out, everything that we put out in our references is unlimited distribution for anybody. Even if it's not, then anybody can go on Army Pubs and find it. You know, so
there's a training manual they can read and figure it out.
Right. So, but everything that I put, you know, on the site is, you know, open distribution. Anybody can, you know, unlimited, you know, consumer everything. So, it's a non-issue, especially with the criminal aspect. It's, you know, like you said, it's too hard, you know, and it's such a niche thing that, you know, okay, well, you know, a criminal will go out to learn sets so that they can get with their buddies. No, they won't, because they don't know that there's a deficit. And that's the thing, you know, criminals are arrogant. You know, they think their way's the best way. Otherwise they would be doing things legit. Right. So they're not going out to take all the time and the money to, you know, learn this stuff. It's a non-issue. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. And dude, it even like when someone's learning from us, whether it be like just reading our stuff online, stuff we're talking about, or they're actually in a class, like I've experienced, like I've met people overseas that I've trained with in like Eastern European countries, and I get messages from those dudes because they're in the reconnaissance community, which is a very small community. I'll get messages from those dudes, ask me questions about stuff I'm posting or stuff I'm teaching. Be like, hey man, I want to learn that. Like this stuff we don't get over here from our military training. You know, next time you come over here, can we link up and can we talk about this, or can you demonstrate it for me or teach it? And like I've had one dude who's a member of a recon unit and over there, and he happened to wind up in Ukraine teaching military tactics for his government, I guess. But he sends me a message and he's like, hey man, I got this weird thing. Can you tell me how to use this? It's from America. And it's literally a T&E for a 240 Bravo that they got sent over there. But it's a mod armory T&E. So it had different mounting systems. And I'm like, I've never touched a mod armory one, but let me look it up. And I was like, you mount it this way. He's like, oh, thank you, man. I'm like, bro. But like you get those weird questions from people that learn from you, and people are always wanting, or people either always have more questions or are wanting to learn more. And like I said before, I'm not training criminals, right? It's like, especially in that situation, my government's funding that war, so how's it bad for me to? I mean, I'm not saying it's not bad, but how's it bad for me to talk to him?
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. So like, I'm not, anything I teach for the most part is open source. It's you can pull it out of a field manual. It's just like, you guys have read training manuals. They're a pain to read, a pain to decipher sometimes. You end up falling asleep by page 3. It's, you know, I don't think anybody learns really from a training manual. But luckily we've been there, done that, and we've used those skills, so we know we can teach them at some point, right? Or we can know how they've been taught to us, so we can teach them at least the same way, if not another way. That's all we're doing. We're teaching open source stuff that is applicable, that people want to learn. You know, whether you're coming to a SUT course and learning patrolling and stuff for airsoft, or you're learning it to protect your property or your family or your community. You know, everyone's got their different reasons. You know, we haven't really experienced like a I guess you can say like a militia. We've never gotten that. You know what I mean? We've always gotten just people who want to protect themselves. That's literally all it is. It's just people that are curious. They want to learn and they want to train. You know?
Well, I think it's because you're putting that information out. You're making that available.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, people didn't seek this out before. You know, people weren't offering it before. You know, it's only recently that we've started to really break down that, you know, blur that line and break that down.
Yeah, it's seeing what, I guess you can say, gun culture or gun community is doing right now. Like, it's evolving. You see posts about it all the time. People will say, hey, we're going from the 1 round, 1 second drills, whatever,
right,
or 1 round reload,
1 hour rounds, yeah.
Yeah, we're going from that to more of okay, well, how do you patrol? How do you work in a team? And then you got the comms aspect, which we're rolling out here soon as well. You got all these different aspects, and now it's kind of going into, okay, now we're homesteading and farmsteading, right? Like, I got my own chickens. I got 2 pigs coming in April with the refresh. Like, I have my own thing
Nice.
going on. I've had it going on. I grew up with cows and everything, you know. Like, over my family's house, we still got chickens and goats and everything. You know, I grew up with it, but a lot of people didn't. So a lot of people are rolling into that now because now they're talking sustainability.
Yeah.
Right? So now it's a bigger picture. And I've even seen some posts on logistics already. So, like, it's all focusing to a different point, and it's all getting more purposeful. You know, people are getting that training now they really need, or they never expected to want. And there's really not that many people out there teaching it.
Yeah.
Like in actual classes. There's tons of people talking about it online and making posts about it, but there's not many people doing actual classes for it. So, I mean, both are a benefit. Both are good. But it just seems like it's still evolving.
Yeah.
You know, I'm anxious to see where it goes.
I am too. Man. I can't wait to get the Hard Time Strongman land. Be teaching Sut, Fieldcraft, bring me over to the barn. This is how you take care of a chicken. Like,
yes.
Sky's the limit, man. I mean, and like you said, it's so great that people are looking at this holistically now. You know, it is not just, can you shoot? You know, can you shoot? That's great. You know, good for you, man. But you're going to have to eat. You're going to have to drink. You're going to have to take care of your family. You know, have you thought about medical yet outside of your IFAC? You know, there's so much more to this. And, you know, we're getting more and more into that self-preservation, you know, that self-sustainment mentality and lifestyle, you know, that we don't have to rely on, you know, governments big or small. We don't have to rely on organizations big or small, corporations big or small, you know, and the only way to go is up. You know, it only gets better. I'm so proud that everyone is moving towards this. You know, it's excellent. It's great. You know, if we could have every community, every family, every neighbor looking out for each other, where we didn't need the government, we didn't need somebody holding our hand, it'd be a good day. I can't wait to get out of a job. I can't wait to work myself out of a job.
It'd be great. It would. What's doing actually too is it's creating more community responsibility and community oriented people. So like, and more self responsible people, right? So like, now you got animals you got to take care of. Now you're creating your own food and your own sustainability. Now you have to look out for it.
Yeah.
And learn how to take care of it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's creating a different man, in my opinion, as well. It's going back to the roots.
Yeah.
It's going back to what we were and what we should be.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and that's been our mission statement from day one. You know, training up a better class of man. You know, and that's not just fighting. That's not just warfare. You know, which is what we're well accustomed to. You know, we were infantry as well, but you know, it's so much bigger than that. You know, is looking out brother for brother, friend for friend, you know, family for family, you know, neighbor for neighbor. You know, it's huge. And, you know, like you said, the respect, the respect is coming back, and that's what it's building. It's an inherent, it's a natural progression. It's huge. We have chickens as well, and I haven't bought eggs in months, but I'm going out to that coop every single day to check on those ladies, make sure they're doing good, make sure they're fed and watered, their shelter's fine. And you build,
make sure they're comfortable so they keep laying.
Exactly. And you make that, you build that, your relationship with that animal. Soon we'll have rabbits, and that'll be an even more intimate relationship because that's meat, right? And it's just, it is a heart change too when you're that close with with your food. If we had that for everybody, it'd change the culture.
Be completely different, man.
That's what I want, man. That's what we're building towards. Can't wait.
People are buying chicken. People are buying chickens left and right, man, right now because they're trying to become more sustainable. Right? Like Tractor Supply selling out. Like farms are selling out.
Yeah, my Atwoods is sold out at by my house. Gone.
Dude, it's crazy. And like I've had an order for the last 2 months in for April for another batch of 10, but I'm rehatching some out here soon. Okay. From my current flock, but I have a dual purpose bird that is a meat bird, but also lays like 260 eggs a year on average per hen. So like it's kind of a forgotten breed. They're Delawares. So they used to be the go-to meat bird before like Cornish crosses and all that stuff. So like, but they don't have nearly as much health issues from growing too fast and stuff like that, right? So, but mine are pecking at each other at their feet. I got like one dominant hen that keeps, like I got a really mean rooster that I left over, and he's getting messed up. The hen's messing up the other hens, and I'm like, now I gotta go out here and clean their feet because they're bleeding and separate them. Otherwise, it's gonna get worse, and because they'll peck at anything red, and it's like now I got a problem hen I gotta figure out and how to break this pecking order. Like it's a legit relationship. Like it's, and now I'm sitting over here borderline thinking about butchering her, but I don't want to lose the egg count. So it's like,
Jesus,
it's a relationship you have, and it's a responsibility, and luckily it's not just me. Luckily my wife helps a lot too. So
it's a family thing, man. Because you can't do it alone. That's how it's meant to be.
It is.
Yeah. It's all about shifting all these skill sets. Like, not so much learning new skill sets. We're relearning the stuff that we knew 250 years ago.
Oh my gosh, man!
Yeah. But all we're accounting for now is the technological changes, the breed changes. Yeah. So why we lost these skills is beyond me. Because now we're going to have to spend even more energy, more time, more resources relearning what we already knew, man, and what actually created this country.
It's laziness.
And I hate it.
And you're having to do all of that and learn, and then you're still having to work a full-time job. With a median income that doesn't match the median house purchase or car purchase or anything else. So you're struggling to stay above water and take care of your sustainability and keep learning about it. It's a tough battle these days.
And not just all that, but taking care of yourself, right? When you find the time to make sure that you're eating healthy, you're exercising, so you're not getting dragged down too. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's almost insurmountable at times, but we've got to get back to that, man. Because like you said, Six, an 8-year-old 200 years ago would make me embarrassed, honestly.
Yes.
Oh yeah. All right, boy, go get a deer. Comes back with a deer already field stripped, like ready to go, like no sweat. Then helps me like re-roof my house, like. It's no like, and they knew that. That's not even hyperbole. They would just do it because you had your family and there's your workers. That's what you had, and you made it work. It was like,
and
my gosh,
dude, it's that's all stuff I want to instill in my son. My son is coming up on a year here next month, and
congratulations.
Like, dude, thank you. Awesome. He's like a little spitting image of me. He's got like my attitude, but also like my personality, and it's hilarious to see. And he goes out there and plays with the chickens and wants to touch them and stuff. Like, he's like very interested in that. He loves the four-wheeler. He'll watch four-wheeler racing with me all day on like on YouTube or something. He's in all the same stuff, like already at a young age. But I wanna see him be able to support himself and also help sustain a community if he needed to down the road. But like, part of him growing up is he's probably gonna be homeschooled. My wife and her sisters are all homeschooled. I went to a public school, absolutely hated it, got nothing but fights all through high school, ended up dropping out, getting a GED, and going that route. And I said, screw it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm done. I went to work full time when I was 16. You know, it's a different type of responsibility that I want him to experience, and I don't want him to get wifed up by some thought at the age of 17 with a baby. You know what I mean? I want him to experience life and enjoy it, but also be responsible and be able to know how to make a decision.
Yeah. Well, and to have the space to learn through pain. I mean, and to build like his own, like, you know, you start him off at a high standard, right? But to have him exceed that and build his own standard. I mean, that's what we're going to do with our boys. We're going to homeschool both of them and, you know, whoever comes after. But, you know, my wife, you know, her and her brothers were both homeschooled. I was, you know, private school, hated it, like you said, the whole time. You know, I'm a pediatric nurse. You know, I'm seeing the effects of that right now. Kids weren't meant to sit in a desk for 8 hours a day.
No.
They weren't. It's not right. Like, you know, you tell me, oh, you know, this kid's having a hard time focusing, hard time staying still, you know, hard time not speaking out. Really? Your 8-year-old's having a hard time sitting at a desk and not speaking their mind. Yeah, tell them to go outside and chop wood, dude. Like,
ask that same teacher how many days a month she doesn't want to come to work.
Yeah.
How many times does she wake up and not want to go to that classroom? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Well, I mean, think about not being able to see sunlight for 8 hours a day. Or, you know, that's hyperbole, obviously. But, I mean, like, those LEDs will kill you, man. I mean, it's crazy. But, you know, I want to build a life, a home for my son, where he can go romp around outside and learn something. Come home and learn something. If it hurts, fine. You know, but he'll be all the better for it. You know, I'm not gonna damn him to a desk and, you know, incandescent light bulbs. Like, that's not life. You know, that's, you know, you telling a kid something, then you know, telling them to put it back on paper. They're not learning anything. You know, and being able to actually, you know, live through life. You know, living with those animals, like you said, like learning that respect and how things happen, and, you know, how everything works together. Actually have interpersonal communication. You know, being able to talk to a neighbor, barter, like, you know, throw some shade, get it right back, you know, get in a scuff and be okay and be friends after it, because we are social creatures and it's okay to have conflict. I mean, so many things that these kids aren't learning. It just breaks my heart, man. You know, and, you know, like you said, we need to
and that's
back.
what we've lost the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That's seriously what we've lost the last couple of years. COVID killed this. Like, kids are growing up in, like, their rooms. Like, they're doing classes from their rooms. They don't interact with people. And if they do, they're doing it from behind. They've been doing it from behind a mask until recently. Like, what the hell? We're going to have a stunted generation. Like, not going to lie.
We had a COVID baby.
It's nice.
He barked at his first pediatrician appointment. He's okay now, but he didn't know anybody. He was hanging out with the dog.
Is the pediatrician okay?
No, the pediatrician just gave me that look like, that's not normal. Like, look, he hasn't been around anybody. Give him a break.
Yeah, it's a kid. Let him be a kid.
Yeah, but,
let him bark at you.
God.
Yeah, dude. It's not just affecting the kids, man. It's affecting our military too. It's training has stopped. Schools are lacking on students. It's hurting both instructors in the military and students and units. Units aren't doing anything.
Mental health,
people
dude.
Are getting out. Yeah, mental health, dude. When things happened in 2020, 2021, dude, the mental health, like the depression level in the military, went through the roof. We saw a lot more suicides that they didn't want to talk about. Mm-hmm. We saw more medical injuries. We saw a lot of people getting out. It's just people are just they don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to be even worse in the next generation. It's not going to be the same because they had to deal with that. So unless we change it now, I don't think it's going to be good.
We honestly need a complete overhaul, man. We need a complete overhaul because even, you know, what, 5 years? 6? When was it? We got 5 years ago? Something like that? I got 5 years ago. You got like 6 years
dating me.
ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
Even then, it was trash. I mean, within a year of my getting out, you know, our dudes were, you know, getting ready to deploy and had an entire platoon pop up for drugs. Entire platoon. Like, how does that happen? I mean, you're a dirt standard. You know, guys who can't do their jobs. mean, the focus has shifted. I mean, we're supposed to be a fighting force, right? Army. Like, we're supposed to win our nation's battles on land. Not like this, we're not. I mean, we're seeing the first land war in Europe in a generation, and it's not looking good for the service right now.
Yeah. And
I mean, question for the group: do you guys still think that we are still the best military in the world? Keep in mind, North Korea's got or is it China that has that 1 million man standing army, and then we still have all the technological advances that are, plaguing us due to China stealing stuff, North Korea gaining stuff from China and testing their own stuff. I mean, are we still number one in the world, or did we get surpassed?
I think the only benefit that we have, the only leg up that we have, is our level of violence and the fact that we don't even know what we're doing. The same thing that said in World War II. The enemy could not predict what we were doing. We didn't know what we were doing. To this day, that's true. We have no clue what we're doing.
Well, because you have leaders. I literally asked why Lear said, "Yeah, the book says this. We're not doing that. That's stupid." And made his own SOP, like an SOP within the platoon.
Yeah.
Not to mention the rest of the army.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, when I call up my location, I don't tell my own unit the correct location. You know what I mean? Like, I'm at least 100 meters off.
Like, that's opposite, dude. Why do you have to know?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm in this general area. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Dude, the only person I would want to give my exact location to would be fixed wing aircraft.
Yes. And I can do that talking to them. I have a JFO or a JTAC for that. You know what I mean?
They don't need to know that either.
Yep.
Or,
that's my business.
Yeah.
JTAC can tell him where he is.
That's my business.
Yeah. It's hilarious. But like, our Americans by nature have been historically rebellious. It might be different today, but I think they're still. I mean, like, look at me. I'm the rebellious one. I'm kind of the ungovernable one, right? So, like, I can make a decision freely, and that's how all my guys are. But you go to a different unit, you do not get that. So it's going to be dependent, but that's what's going to hurt us is our lack of being able to make a free decision and go off of that. But if you look at a lot of the tech that's being used in the Ukraine-Russian war, like the laser finders that they're using, like on their chest, the Russians are. They're like, if you laze a target with a rangefinder or with an IR or any kind of laser, right? It tells them like the distance and direction from them. They run on their helmets, on their plate carriers. It's all Chinese tech that's getting used on the Russian side.
Interesting.
And that's like at sniper school. Like this was the first POI that they had us like working more Russian-Ukraine conflict type tactics and what we would use over there, and not Middle Eastern. We were the first class to come through with the Barrett Mark 22, and we were the first class to use those tactics. We're like, now we're not heavy reliant on a rangefinder because we got pictures of this tech and we're showing it in the class, and we see Instagram post about it too all the time, and it's all Chinese tech, and it's tech we would run into fighting Russia or China, right? So like they have a kind of a leg up on tech, and they're at least hindering us, right? They're at least enough to teach, hey, at sniper school we're learning different tactics now. We're milling everything with mill reticle, like not using rangefinders. Now we're
doing it on paper.
You know, we're doing all this stuff, so it's all different. How we
Old
operate
school.
might be different, yeah. But ultimately, it would equate back to guerrilla warfare, which Americans, when you give us no leash and free reign to make decisions, it's usually good, but good for us.
Rogers Rangers, baby.
Yeah. So I mean, if we can go back to scalping, great. But if we're gonna have our hands tied, no, it's not gonna be good. But it's gonna depend on a lot of things. And honestly, China does have a big army and they have the tech, but the bigger concern, which I brought up, like I just tested back in November, the new SIG weapon systems, the new rifle and a new machine gun with the Vortex optic, computerized optic on it, and tested the new body armor and all that stuff. Spent 2 weeks doing that, and my question to the sergeant major down at PO Soldier when he came in and talked to us, he was like, "You got a question for me or anything?" I was like, "Yeah." How are you going to field this? How are you going to implement it? How are you going to train soldiers on the optic? Because now you're handing a DMR rifle to all the infantry, all the Cav Scouts, all combat engineers, like 5 branches, including like SF. Are you going to teach them how to use that when the ballistic calculator goes down, when the range, because they can't use the rangefinder built into it in that war. They can't use the IR laser or the visible laser that's built into it. So now they're having to mill targets with that reticle. It's a 1 to 10, and they're not going to know what their bullet drop is unless they know it and they have range time and have a dope card built for it, right? and certain weathers, or have a kestrel with them. And he was like, I haven't thought of any of that. And I was like, well, now you will. Send them to SDM school, give them the training.
But will he put that thought into practice? No.
Exactly.
No.
And that's what's going to hurt us. And it's things like that why I'm a little leery on saying yes that we're still the best. It's because of the individuals. It's not because we're lacking the weaponry or the capability. Really, it's that we handcuff ourselves and we limit ourselves.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, how have you? Sorry, it's frustrating. So literally, you're having the end user come down and try out this equipment. You're asking this end user to his face, hey, do you have any questions? How can I do this better? What do I need to do? And then you're gonna lie to his freaking face and you're not gonna do it. Are they going to teach guys how to, are they going to teach every freaking private how to, use the mill relation formula? No, he's going to football it. He's going to football it 100%.
We would have.
Yeah, we would have.
And like my argument, my suggestion to him was, all right, take SDM school, and like, how you got air assault courses that will roam around the country and train up units. Mm-hmm. Do that with SDM school. Most bases have a 600-yard KD range and a UKD range. That's all you need. Send them through. And we're carrying less ammo with that rifle system now because the ammo's heavier, right? It's a 6.8 by 5.1. It's flying really fast. Yep. You're going to get more first-round hits probably. That's what they're looking at. You'll be able to initiate the firefights when you want to and win them faster. They say. But you're carrying less ammo now, so you're not as sustained in the field, right? And you're not going to have air superiority to get a supply drop because now we're fighting countries that they say near peer, but I'm saying peer to peer because they have air assets like we do, and they can have air superiority whenever they want, just like we can. So, you're not going to be able to get medical. You're not going to be able to get a dust off crew in there. You're not going to be able to get resupplies. You're not going to be able to get any of that by air like you think you're going to based off of previous conflicts. So he couldn't really. He didn't really know how to address that either, and he hadn't really thought about it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people aren't thinking about this stuff,
Well, not to mention, like, when you get casualties, because you're going to get casualties, right? You're talking about actual prolonged field care, which they don't touch on in a TC3 class.
Oh.
No.
I don't know.
You're going to need more than a TC3
like,
class.
I know you read
Black
Hawk Down, how long they had that casualty that they had to deal with. I mean, we and I don't have a good question for you, or a good answer for you, Six, about the, if we're the greatest the greatest military power right now. On paper, yeah, probably because of the nukes, but like you said, Ghost, we don't have near peers, we have peers at this point. We have a lot of equipment, just like the Chinese, and just like the Chinese, all our dudes don't either have it or know how to use it properly. I'd say that our greatest military asset right now, just as a country, as a superpower, is our civilians, and the fact that other countries do not have what we have. So we've never had since the Revolutionary War, we've never had outside forces on our soil, and that's been that's so far has been untested, right? But that's my opinion is that is where the actual fight would take place, because then you would have your wild cards. You talk about guerrilla warfare. It goes when you can't give someone parameters, when you can't give a force parameters because they're not under your jurisdiction.
You can't tell them what they can and can't do.
When you can't tell them what they can or can't do, but when you tell them, hey, we need this town, or we need that bridge, or don't let them go past here, stuff will get done, because the greatest asset we have as military, the greatest tactic we have as military is that freedom. Giving your lower level leaders, the man-to-man leaders, the freedom to do what the hell needs to get done. And when you let someone get creative, it works. It works so well.
And honestly, that's the way the Army should be run. Is like, that's how it used to be run. Say back in World War II, it was like, here's the objective. I don't care how you do it. Do it. Roger.
Yeah,
We'll deal with this
Get it
later.
done.
These are the
And
good guys. Those are the bad guys. Figure it out.
pe-
Yep.
people send me that video every time. Like when you're talking about this, people like made me think of this video. People always send me an Instagram video where like the trees playing the banjos and singing to people, and like I'm like. I'm from West Virginia. It's like the joke is, it's like, yeah, 2025 color eyes when, like, they'll send it to me. They're like 2025 color eyes when ghost gorillas are in the Shenandoah Valley and the trees start singing. You know what I mean? Like when ghost gorillas are playing the banjo and playing country
God.
roads. You know?
When the
Oh
trees
my
start
God.
screaming country roads behind you.
Yeah.
I'm in danger.
But I mean, you're completely right though, man. I mean, that's one thing that we have that a lot of countries don't have. And like when you talk to a nomad, right? He tells you about Canada and just how screwed over
Yeah.
they are, and you know, it's like that country is not going to be easily defendable.
Not at all.
No.
You know,
Not at all.
and meanwhile, we got Russians. Like I don't know if you heard the other day, but we got Russians leaving Eastern Russia on a boat, crossing the sea for that mile or two or whatever it is to our islands that are off the coast of Alaska to the southwest, and they're landing
Mhm.
there to escape the war that they're getting drafted into.
Wow.
Like that's how easily they can reach us, right?
Yeah, I didn't
know?
know about that
Yeah.
until I saw an IG post, funny enough, about it, and they said it was like they said, yeah, that island over there, that's Russia, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you can see it.
And when it freezes over, you can walk across the whole thing.
Yes.
Insanity, absolute insanity.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Aleutian Islands are that close. Yeah.
Yeah, and we
Well,
had
and just militarily, it's
during
really
World War
horrible to
II
have Russia and China through Canada in the same
Same
ballpark. That's a rough way.
And like
Yeah.
during World War II, I think we had Kashmir's cutthroats up there in Alaska. They occupied like the Aleutian Islands and the coast of Alaska, and they were basically a scout group that took the tribesmen, indigenous people, and employed them because they knew how to track
Yeah.
and knew how to survive out there. And that's one thing we're trying to bring to the modern military while we're talking to these company commanders, these battalion commanders, and we're trying to get them at least our basic bushcraft and stuff, and teach a section at a time or squad at a time, not just them but also civilians. How do you survive on your own? How do you do that now? Because in the next war, you might have to do that. The sustainability is not going to be there, logistics wise, for you to survive. The civilian knows that, and the civilian doesn't have logistics, but the military has not experienced that yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be a hard awakening. It's we're trying to get ahead of the curve, and the civilian population knows it, and they're taking to it, and they're wanting to do it. But the military is just, no, I'll have my support do this for me, or we'll have support, we'll have airdrops and this and that. It's like, dude, I don't think he will.
Yeah.
Not like you think you think he will.
Well, think about the
You
That's
might get him
okay.
here and
Well,
there.
think about the early stages of the Russian-Ukraine war, right? Where Russia had like a 40, 50 mile long supply chain.
Out of
Yeah,
gas.
you had tanks on the side of the road, farmers pulling away tanks like with their tractors.
Yeah.
I mean, supply is such a finicky thing, man. Like, and we, GWAT era, we've gotten so used to just being able to call something in, have it show up.
Mhm.
You don't even have to think about it. It's just there, or you're back at base, that night, or at the very latest the morning after. Like you said, the civilian definitely has the leg up there where, if we know we're going to be going out for a few days, we know we're going to be going out for a few days, and we pack
And
accordingly.
you're still going to pack light.
Yeah, but
You know?
like we know that in our head, and it's not like this
Yep.
false,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you don't need any of that, man. We'll be back tonight.
Yeah.
Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
Like it's
Ammo.
We're
take
back in a
ammo.
couple hours, dude.
yeah, back in a couple hours, dude. Don't worry about it. You'll be too heavy. Like
You don't need
that's gonna
nods.
be a huge thing, and that's why I say that as a country, that's our biggest force multiplier. Always is our civilians, and that's why it's so
Yeah.
important to blur this line and to train up as best as we can. Regardless of what you think of the government, you're just taking care of people. When you do that,
Yeah.
you're taking care of people. As
Yeah.
if I'm, if I have any measure of strength, if I have a measure of knowledge or resources, I think it's my responsibility to pass that off to people, to help people out.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? If you're a good person and a moral person, why wouldn't you? I think that's what we're seeing through our students is they're thinking just like you. That's why they're there to start with.
Yeah.
They're no different. And what we're trying to get is the military think the same way.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because like I'll train with like the difference between like training like active units and guard units is like the active units you get the guys that have been in the military since they're like 18. They don't know anything else, right? But like I just went through like sniper school with a guy who was from somewhere up northeast, way up northeast, and he was a farmer on Sphinx. Had his own legit farm that like he made a profit from. Like he was a legit farmer, but was an army sniper in the guard, and had like 2 deployments, and now getting moved to the sniper section. I'm like, dude, like that guy could sustain a community on his own and be dangerous at the same time. You know what I mean? And like some people were slept on, man, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but it's funny to see. It's interesting to see. It's, you know, different roles, different purposes. But I always tell everyone, not everyone can be a shooter, not everyone can be a fighter at every time. You have to have that, like ability. That's some level, but some people have a bigger purpose behind the scenes that doesn't seem as big, but it's actually bigger. If you can't eat and you don't have water, you can't fight.
Right, 100%.
So
well, and you know, a really humbling thing for us is, okay, you might be, you know, Hotshot McGee over here, you know, you might be the best, you know, shooter and tactician around, right? But if you go down day 0, day 1, now what's your community gonna do? Now what's your family gonna do? Do you train them up? Because if you didn't, then you're feeling pretty stupid right now. You know,
exactly.
If you're not passing off this information, then you're doing everybody a disservice, because you're not invincible. You can go down just like anybody else. We know we are incredibly fragile, you know? So if you're not passing this information off, if you're not making more of you, to make more of you, you know, to build out this community where you can actually protect yourself in a sustainable and, you know, self-healing way, then, you know, that's probably not going to last.
Yeah, you're only going to fight that fight for so long, and it'll show. It'll be a experience.
Yeah. Well, it makes me think of you know, like the old Red Dawn, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like, that's why I always go back to when I think of these scenarios, you know, as hyped up as it was, right? But, you know, imagine if you're just you know, you have 4 or 5 other guys and that's it. You know, like, and you're met with this, you know, with all the sustainment, with all the networking and everything else, and you know, you have virtually nothing except for what you started out with. You know, what can you do with that? That's why the sustainment, that's why the fieldcraft and the bushcraft and, you know, everything is so important, because, you know, on this side of things, you know, you don't get do-overs, you don't get you know, you don't get alibis. You don't have a water buffalo falling behind you. You don't get a speedball when you know, blew all your ammo in your first engagement. You know, you gotta make it count.
Yeah. Yep. It's true, man. And like you guys have probably seen it, like units when they go to like JRTC or NTC or something, like a lot of dumb decisions are usually made there, and logistics are usually screwed up there. And that's where you experience it at. You know, with inexperienced people or people who don't know how to make a decision. And like, I had a ball at JRTC because we're a scout sniper section. We're just going around sabotaging and calling for air support and mortars and calling for fire every chance we can from far out. And we're ahead of the line anyway, so we're just sabotaging and living a happy life. And it's a different experiences, and people need to know how to do that. People need to know how to be comfortable in those situations, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't get stopped by the bull. Know how to make your own decisions and support yourself and sustain yourself. I don't think we got one single supply drop in 5 days.
Goodness.
For ammo or anything, we got in like 3 firefights. I get in a firefight,
awesome.
plot the grid on my Jeep, on my Garmin. I'll plot the grid because he's 100 meters that way. Break contact and split over the hillside and call for fire. You know what I mean? Like, because we had that capability, you know, and it's like.
But also you can transfer that. You can transfer that to other tactics, right? But it's the idea, it's the concept of, you know, that decentralized, that small unit, right? Yeah. So am I going to go against the line unit head on? No. I'm going to break contact, and I'm going to whittle them down, the war of the flea, right? Until there's nothing left, because he, you know, as a conventional force, has to follow a set of rules. whether he knows it or not. Naturally, that is how, you know, those large organizations are run, because that's how they have to be run. That's how they survive. So there are certain rules, whether written or not, that they have to follow. There are certain, you know, paths. There are certain, what am I trying to say? There are just, you know, different procedures that they have to go through. If you have 5 dudes and a lot of hate in your heart, you can get a lot done. And you know, being able to, you know, group, disperse, go from different angles, meet back up again, you know, whatever, having that flexibility, that fluidity, it's devastating. Absolutely devastating.
It is.
And not to mention if you have assets, but, you know, even without, it's dumb. I mean,
you still poke and prod.
Well, and that's why, you know,
exactly.
At least our procedure was, if we had any kind of marksman, any kind of sniper, you know, that was against us, we broke contact, because it's not worth it.
Right.
You know, if you don't have the air assets,
you're going to lose your dudes.
Yeah, if you don't have the air assets to deal with it, and you don't know where he is, you leave.
Yeah, a lot of times you don't have the medical support for it, right? I mean, unless you're calling in, you know, a 9-line and getting a helicopter there, which even then you got to get away from target for that to even happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
and you're hindering yourself, and you're putting your air crew at risk.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, snipers are freaking devastating. Devastating.
They can be a morale crusher.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
They can change your tactics in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, and to go back to the civilian conversation, right? If you count every gold boy with a 308 as a sniper.
Oh.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I mean, and that's how you can train your dudes. And that's how you can actually count. And that's why I think that at home we would be the most devastating force. Flat out, because you know, Bubba with his, you know, granddad's 308 doesn't care if he has an EMP go off or not. Like, he's still going to do what he's going to do.
Yep, that rifle's still going to shoot.
Yep.
I mean, even if the conventional, like, military got completely rolled, say we, like, the Russians landed here and they got completely rolled, Bubba with his 308 and all of his friends are going to be laughing and licking their chops like, I'm about to own some NVGs from somebody. I'm about to get some plate carriers, some Russian uniforms, a tank. Like, I'm going to have this tank parked in my backyard tomorrow.
Oh, dude, I always wanted a Boonie Cap.
And that is the most devastating force. Yep.
Like,
I always wanted an AK-47.
I always wanted a rope full of ears. You know,
goodness.
Ear necklace.
Well, and that's one guy. So imagine if you had three guys who work together.
Oh my god!
Right? I mean, it is absolutely devastating. So, like you said, Six, even if the conventional force got rolled, and that's the thing with insurgencies. Insurgencies don't lose. No, they do not lose.
Historically,
you cannot defeat an insurgency. It is not possible because it's an idea. It's an idea. I don't care how long it takes. Like, think about Ireland. That's still going on.
Still
they
going on.
have not stomped that out.
Yeah.
No matter how many generations they try, it won't. Insurgencies don't lose. We just tucked tail and ran out of Afghanistan with all of our might. Some freaking goat farmers. Some freaking goat farmers beat us, dude.
60 billion.
Yeah.
60 billion in equipment.
Yeah, man. And if that's
and we literally lost 2 civilians. We lost to a mindset, to an ideology that we could not defeat, because you cannot defeat an ideology.
Yeah. You cannot.
The only way to defeat an ideology is to kill it and kill anybody who believes it. And any where it's written, delete anything that where it's written. Mm-hmm. That's the only way to kill an ideology. And you know how hard that is.
Yeah.
That is. Yeah. Pretty much impossible.
Well, and why do you think that so many training companies, so many of these civilian companies, you know, that's in their ethos, is trying to genocide proof people?
Yep.
It's an idea.
Yeah.
You need people for an idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if it did happen, you know, I pray to God that it won't. But if it did, you know, I don't care how long it would take, it would fail.
Yeah.
It would, and you'd be bleeding from all over. 'Cause, I mean, you know, think back to, you know, calling in air support, or, you know, calling in a medevac. I mean, you're just saying rat traps. I mean, think about that, but on a huge, like a countrywide scale. Like, you don't have enough people. You don't have enough people to do that.
No.
Like, it doesn't happen. I mean, during the Troubles, I mean, the British were, like, they wouldn't go outside of their guard booths. it's not worth it.
No.
You know?
I mean, just imagine you're trying to call in a helicopter to get medical help, to get some people out, or even get an exfil, and there's only 3 clearings within a square mile where it can land, and they're not clearing their own area. Like, in Vietnam, we would blast, we'd drop a bomb or something, and or use C4 charges and cut down trees, whatever we had to do. But imagine they're not doing that, or they haven't learned that yet, and it's only 3 clearings within a mile, and there's a team sitting on each. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or 3 teams.
Yeah, or 3 teams sitting on each. Like, you're not getting out of there.
Well, the thing is, like, there's
with man pads,
and there's so many, and there's so much hate, and there's so much conflict going on, in so many different sects of the community, right? Especially with like the commo, like the radio type. But you don't think that any of those radio nerds can listen to every single thing that you're saying, or at least know where you're saying it from? I mean, we're gonna figure out where the drop points are. I mean, where patrols are, anything. Did you ever read Fry the Brain?
Yeah.
Have you read that yet? Great book. Great book. Highly recommend.
Huh.
But
Okay.
it was saying in one chapter about like a hypothetical, like a submarine being christened, being launched, right? The holes aren't all that strong. Say to small arms fire, medium arms fire, right? So imagine one dude from 600-800 yards away in an apartment building, being the reason why you can't launch that submarine anymore. Yeah. Or imagine your helicopter pilots being afraid to land because they don't have any idea what's in that apartment building, and there's no way to clear it because you have civilians all over that. It's not a winnable thing. It's not a doable endeavor.
No, and then you're trying to occupy and you're pissing off the neutral civilian force by treating them badly because,
and you're just
because you have to for control.
Hearts and minds, and you're just making more insurgents. I mean, that's that's why it'll never work. Doesn't matter what country.
That's all it does.
So going back a little more to your company, you spoke about mountain warfare. So do you want to touch on that? What do you mean by mountain warfare? What do you kind of broad scope? What are you trying to pass off to dudes when they go into that?
A lot of our cadre have been to basic and advanced mountain warfare school in the Army, right? Whether it be summer or winter course. So what happens a lot in those courses, what we're trying to incorporate in our courses is it's not just climbing, rappelling, and stuff like that. A lot of it's high angle shooting, it's CASEVAC stuff. How do you get this casualty and this gecko across these mountains? How do you rappel with them? How do you climb with them? How do you traverse these mountains with them, whether it's just big rolling hills or mountains or whatever? Setting up fixed ropes like high lines and to get them across, and rucksacks and gear across. We're trying to incorporate all that stuff, right? We're looking at it from how do you save your own ass aspect, but also how do you be dangerous in the mountains aspect. So you're going to learn 2 sides of it. How do you get out of there safely, right? And then how do you traverse these mountains to get to your target and make that contact, right? How to get to the fight. There's a couple different ways to go about it, but there's multiple ways really to go about it. But a lot of it's your knots, your rope, what gear you choose. You're going to get hands-on with our stuff. How to transport personnel, how to transport injured personnel. It's the type of movements you do, how you run contour lines instead of going up and down. You're just simply running contour lines. All this stuff. It's a whole mess of stuff. But
cool.
It all starts with mentality because you're gonna ruck your ass off
over some topography, baby.
Yeah, you're gonna learn how to read contour lines really quick
with your knees.
With your knees.
Oof.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but we even our basic bushcraft, we're rolling out our I guess you can call it a mountain warfare. It's a mountain warfare course. We're rolling that out here soon. We just got a venue for it, but even in our basic bushcraft, we teach you basic knots. You still learn a bowline, a Prusik. You're learning anything basic. Square knot with safety ties. You're learning figure eights. Everything. A double bowline. And a lot of stuff transfers over to that mountain warfare course.
Okay.
So you're learning it from shelters at one point, like stuff like trucker hitches and stuff. You're learning all this stuff for shelters and whatnot, and basic bushcraft, but when you go into the mountain class, you're going to already know a lot of those knots. It's just now we're going to be inspecting to make sure they're good. They have to be dressed, like to mountain warfare spec.
Right.
You need to have a safety knot on everything. It's just those type of things.
That's awesome.
And then you get to incorporate. You get the pleasure of carrying, 150 foot rope and a belt with different locking carabiners, different non-lockers, different cordage. You're going to learn what all these things are and then have to carry it, as well and get there and use it.
Yeah.
Senders, all that types of stuff. You're going to need to know how to get there and get back out. And get everybody back with you. So
yeah.
So
it's
how can that apply to the civilian context?
So if you're in a mountainous area or plan on being mountainous area, or even I say a lot of stuff even applies to flatlanders because we're teaching 2-to-1 systems, 3-to-1 systems, all that stuff. It applies to you because it's going to help you sustain yourself, but also free up your movement. It's going to help you move freely when you want to. Right? And that's if you can move freely when you want to, you're already winning.
Yeah.
If you have a denied route because it's an easy route, but you can take the hard route and now you can do it easier because you know what you're doing and you have the gear to do it, why would you not do it? I would take that question. I would take that route over the easy one any day, just because it's more protective, it's more security, right?
Well, and or a route that your adversary thinks that you can't take.
Exactly.
Right, using that deception would be really huge as well.
Yep.
Where are you guys?
And
I forgot to ask you guys at the beginning. I'm sorry. Where are you guys based out of?
Right now we're running courses between Eastern West Virginia and Western Maryland.
Okay.
So we just picked up another venue that's not really in Western Maryland. It's more towards like halfway between Western Maryland and Baltimore. It's like Frederick area. We just picked up a firearms training location for there where we're going to be doing night shoots at, day shoots, all this stuff at. But our other venues for like basic bushcraft or SUT or like a recce course or any of those, they're all out towards Western Maryland or Eastern West Virginia.
Okay.
But we have a venue in Wisconsin. We're trying to line up a venue in Texas, and we might have a venue in North Carolina.
Okay.
For this year. So we're going to be traveling a little bit, roaming around.
Awesome.
So certain
awesome.
courses will be offered in certain areas where they're able to be taught at, depending on the venue. But like I always tell everyone, if you're from somewhere else and you want us to come to you, just send us a message. If we can find a venue, or if you can find a venue and you have land or something, we can host something there. We just need the right amount of students to be able to justify it for us financially in order to get there and get back home. That's all.
We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard time, strong men, future conflicts. Here we go.
That is a long-term goal of ours. Is we want to get a sizable amount of land for training. Well, like work land, so studio, armory, but like just training land where we can run ranges, we can run trainings. Like you said, stud, field craft, E&E type stuff, or like hunting primers, like anything that we can. I wasn't joking about like a barn. If we can like break off, get subject matter experts in these different fields, that'd be huge. But
yeah, dude, we're doing the same thing. We got a combo guy getting ready to come on as a guest instructor.
Awesome.
Like I got my buddy that retired from 10th group as a guest instructor. Like you're gonna like people see different faces with us, and they're gonna see more faces with us. So like, and we're about to apply for our FFL with a SOT Class 3, and we're getting ready to host. I used to build weapons for a living back when I was younger. I used to work for a weapons manufacturer that is now shut down. But we used to have all kinds of full auto stuff. They did foreign weapons training for contractors going overseas.
Cool.
Back in like 03, 04,
cool.
05. And so we had all this stuff on the wall. So I knew how to operate. I knew how to take it apart, clean it, put it back together before I even joined the military. I knew how to manufacture it. I currently have all the jigs for it, but we're waiting on the Class 3. And then we're going to start manufacturing for ourselves to keep in our own armory. And then when we get students that fly in, or we get students that want to borrow something and use it, we're there on site. As long as someone's there, they can use it. So it's too easy.
I'm connecting with you on a really, really deep level.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to give me a moment.
I love this.
Oh my gosh, man.
Hey, man, as long as we don't make eye contact, it's not good.
Hey man, $20 is $20.
It's okay. I'm married.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm married too. We're good. We're good then.
All of us are.
Yeah. It's fine. No, that's amazing, man. That's amazing. You guys have any plans for bring on med? Or no, you said you have medical on board. So
We
do they
do.
run
We
classes,
have,
or are they just there for instructor and student safety?
Both. They're there for instructor, student safety, insurance reasons, and then also to run their own class
That's
portion.
awesome,
so like
man. That's great.
Most of our classes, no matter what it is, has a medical portion in it. To some aspect, medical is teaching something.
Cool.
So like, unless it's like if it's a 1-day course, it depends on what it is. But as long as it's a 2-day, you're getting some kind of medical out of it.
That's great.
So whether it be an hour or whether it be 4 hours, you don't know. I mean, sometimes you're doing shooting drills where you're sprinting 50 yards shooting, or applying tourniquet shooting, and like they're checking to make sure that's on there good and properly placed, and where they told you to, and if that patient ain't screaming when you put it on, it ain't tight enough,
Good.
and
If they like you at the end of it, you didn't do it right.
Yeah, exactly. And if they're not doing it back to you when it's their turn, you're wrong. if out of anger. It's funny, but or you're putting dressing on, or you're learning how to use it as a real bandage, or you're doing whatever,
Cool.
and you're getting some kind of medical out of pretty much anything we do.
Awesome.
But we had a problem getting medics at first, and we got one guy in our unit's EMT certified, one who's an actual Army medic who's reclassing. He's currently assigned to us. He was about to get out, got along really good with us, worked in the team, was trainable, teachable, and he's reclassing to be infantryman and be assigned right to a scout sniper section because he used to work with
Cool.
us. And then we have our own medic who has been our medic for the last, 2 years, 3 years, and he's been through RSLIC and everything. He's been through all the recon schools. Like he's a freaking stud. And we had medics, but when we travel, we're gonna have to find medics because I don't know if they're gonna be able freely, depending on schedule, to come with us. So
Right.
that's the hard part, man. Finding medical support that's good, that you trust. That's the hard part.
That's comfortable with what you're doing. That's got to be especially. That's got to be especially hard.
Yeah. Finding a medic that wants to camp out, and especially like a civilian EMT or something, like it's hard, dude. It's difficult. That's why we use unit guys. I mean,
A volunteer.
they love it. They can't get enough of it. All right. Well, if we come down there and teach a course, at least we got medical support.
Yeah, right. Built in. So you're talking about different kinds of rope, different kinds of knots, different ways to use that. So that's a class in and of itself, man. Like,
Oh my god, yes.
It is. I mean, gear selection for mountain warfare stuff in itself can be a class, right? Depending on what your environment is, what your terrain's like, what gear you really need to invest in, what you don't need, how can you make do with what you got. That could be a class in itself. But for the most part, we're going to be using Army issued ropes, like the same ones that we have in the Army. We're going to be using the same manufactured ropes. They're 7/16 thickness, 11 millimeter thickness.
okay.
150 foot ropes. We can cut them down to like 50 foot and cap the ends and cinch them and burn them, cap them all. But, we're going to keep things simple. If we have an anchor point, like say a tree, it's just a bowline knot for a single rappel. If we're doing double rappel, it's a double, triple bowline, whatever you want to call it. If you're doing a retrievable, we're just putting a tagline on it. We're going to do a bowline, loop it through itself, and put a tagline on it. So when you get down at the end, you can pull it freely and retrieve your rope from the bottom. So you can move freely. You don't have to go back up to get it, right? It's
Nice.
Everything we're teaching is with the intent and purpose to be able to move freely in operation.
That's excellent. How much does that kind of rope weigh? Well, first I would say how much would you recommend, say, just individually, right?
You're gonna with a rope and your carabiners, your harness, and your cordage, with a couple different balls of cordage. You're probably gonna be looking at another 20-30 pounds in your ruck.
Goodness.
Especially if it's wet.
Yeah. It's pretty
stuff's
serious.
gonna get wet.
Pretty serious hack for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I went through Mountain Warfare School back in 2017, I went through in the wintertime. Ropes were always wet. Quarters was always wet. We were always wet. We never saw dirt. There's nothing. I don't think I ever saw just how much snow was under my feet anytime. We were always in crampons or snowshoes.
Wow.
Doing ice axe climbing, all that stuff, and everything was wet. It was heavier than when you left in the morning, and I had an Alice pack, and the bottom half literally just had like a change of socks, extra water, that type of stuff in it, and then literally from the middle up was all rope kit and harness and cordage and carabiners and my puff top, and that was it. You know, my marshmallow top. So, and that's a big point that we like to teach is when you're working in the cold, especially in like a mountainous area where you're exerting energy and building heat in your body, you have to dress lightly. So, like a general rule we were taught was, you need to be cold when you step off, comfortably cold, right? Cold. So, like, if it was 20 degrees or 15 degrees, I was simply wearing silk tops and bottoms and a soft shell top and bottom. And that's it. And I'm moving out in that, even if it was 10 to 20 degrees.
Wow.
And from there, I just keep a down jacket, a marshmallow jacket, or a puff jacket, whatever you want to call it, in the top of my ruck, on top of my rip kit, and all that way. When I stop and I go to set up, I just throw it on to retain that body heat. You don't want to sweat, right?
Right.
Sweat kills you in the cold. So,
yep.
You know, and that's another aspect of it that's going to be rolled into it is, you know, how do you take care of yourself and keep your skin clean and keep your clothing clean? That way, your heating insulators can still work as heating insulators in those environments.
Yeah.
So,
what do you do for your
there's
hands?
As far as like gloves and stuff.
Yeah, because you're having to tie with rope and everything else. So how do you make that work? You just have to grin and bear it whenever you have to do the technical stuff.
That's the crappy part, man. So like I run a pair of Mountain Hardwear gear liners, and then I have a set of Outdoor Research gloves I put on over top of them that are like shells that are insulated. And I'll run those. I've had those out to like -20 up there, and they were great. But if I'm tying knots, it depends on what rope I'm tying with. If I'm tying with the rappel rope, then I can do it with them on it. Right, the rope's big enough, and the knots are big enough. I can do it with it on it for the most part. At worst, I'm just using liners.
Okay.
But that smaller stuff, man, I'm taking everything off and doing it with my fingertips. Because a lot of times, especially when you go to recover that stuff, the knots are frozen in the wintertime, and you have to go bare hands on it to even be able to grip it. Or you're taking sticks and trying to shove it down in there, break the knot loose, and not break the sheath up at the same time.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
And like what a lot of people don't think of is like during these type of training and like in real world operations, you're gonna have places where your rope's laying over stuff where it's gonna make it fray. So you have to be able to lay down a jacket or find some moss and lay it on the edge of a rock or something. That way it doesn't rub your sheath through and basically ruin your rope. You know.
Yeah. Do you know a lot of rope or a lot of knots before you went to before you joined the service, before you went to Modern Warfare School, or did you learn everything there?
I knew some stuff just from growing up, between hunting, how to hang a deer up with certain knots, fishing knots, stuff like that. But majority of stuff I know now is from Mountain Warfare School. The first thing they test you on is knots at the end of week 1. And I think we sent home like a quarter of the class on just the knot test alone.
Wow.
Because like you have to know the knots. They had to be dressed properly. You get like 10 seconds to tie each one. And you have to say what the knot is and what the purpose of it is while you're tying it of each knot. Like,
so very technical. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it gets a lot of people, man, but no, I think I learned most of them. At least most of them I use today I learned there. You know, and then I've even learned other stuff through like just being at my unit, like truckers hitches and stuff like that, just for hanging rain shelters and just simple stuff like that. So that's stuff you get passed down in the basic bushcraft for your shelters, So
cool.
Yeah, there's and like if you look these knots up, man, the civilian world will call the knots something different than the military does usually.
Naturally, yeah.
Or it'll have 3 or 4 different names, So it's like, I don't know.
Well, it'll be a different way to tie it and everything else, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like I can teach you Todd Bolin 2, maybe 3 different ways.
Yeah, well, I was saying, like, I don't remember how many months ago it was, but I was putting up on our story highlights, our Can You Not highlights, I was tying a bowline. And you're like, hey, man, there's definitely a better way to do that.
I was like, hold on, I'll post a video.
Yeah, I was like, okay, cool, please show me how. But I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you don't want me to suck, right? You don't want me to do this the wrong way or like a inferior way. So you're like, hey, yeah, we can do this better, and you showed me how.
Yeah.
And you have to be teachable. You have to be willing to let someone make you better. But
Yeah. Yeah, and like I'm not saying your way was wrong. I'm just saying, hey, there's more ways that you might like better.
Yeah.
That might be faster for you.
Yeah, but I mean,
You know?
hell, man, if you're doing this for a living, I'm gonna take your 2 cents.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people are such a wealth of knowledge. It's like you have to be willing to take it.
You have to remain a student.
Always.
And that's one thing that we believe in, man. Like, luckily, because we're still in the military, we still have the opportunity to go to training and get paid to do it, right? But even on the civilian side, I've taken civilian classes. It's you have to stay learning.
Yeah.
Whether it's just talking to people or taking classes. If you're lucky enough to have someone that knows something and can teach you, great. But you have to stay a sponge and stay absorbing.
100%.
Plus, it helps keep the mind sharp, in my opinion. It helps keep you mentally active.
Yeah, I mean, iron sharpens iron, right? That's the old saying.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Set ego aside and learn some things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. It's I mean, not everybody can do it, but like, I like to stay active. So like, I just got back from sniper school 2 weeks ago. I'm already putting in to go to Mountain Rifleman, to go to the high angle course
Cool.
up at Mountain Warfare School. I'm like, I want to go this year.
Awesome.
And I want to go in the wintertime because I know it's going to be more difficult to move around. It's going to be better training than me. So,
Yeah.
and like we just sent 3 dudes off to SEER school. Like our dudes stay doing stuff, and
man.
our instructors are the same way.
Yeah. Well, and you're constantly sharing that information and making everybody better. That's cool. That's really cool.
Man. Like even at school, at school I had dudes ask me, "Hey, how'd you like active duty guys? How'd you do this? How'd you get that school? How'd you get Mountain Warfare School? Like they didn't know anybody who's ever been.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, do this for your training NCO. He's like, wait, I don't have a training NCO. I'm like, all right, well, do this, submit this paperwork, hit me up, and I'll help you. I'll walk you through it. It's real easy, and go into ATARs, and whoever has access to ATARs or a server slot, put you in for it. Like you have to be able to help your community and help dudes do stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only way they get better. And that's the only way the community gets better.
Right.
That's awesome. So what do you guys got coming up next? Like what's coming up in the next couple months for you guys?
Oh, we have a basic land nav course that's, I think it's going to be 13 people reserved already.
Wow.
That's running in April, middle April. And then we have a March course we might be doing. Not sure yet. Trying to figure out the student count on it, the head count on it. But if we get enough interest, we do it. We got an open course weekend, open training weekend to alumni as well. We have a open training weekend in April as well. And beginning of April, we have I'm going down to Texas April 27th to May 1st for a Freedom of Farm Setting event run by Insurgency Knitting Circle. I'm going to be a guest instructor out there for them.
Awesome.
Teaching like patrolling your land and your community and stuff like that. Like zone and pretty much zone reconnaissance type stuff.
Yeah.
Area reconnaissance type stuff.
Cool.
And we have a class set up for May for SUT. We have an SUT class on the backside of a basic bushcraft in April. So basically, like the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, it's a 2-day basic bushcraft rolled into a 2-day SUT back to back. We have 6 people reserved for that so far. I think we got 3 more talking to us about it. And we got alumni students coming in and play out for it for the Force on Force portions. And that runs right into 22nd to 25th, and then 27th I go back. I go to Texas. So
You're as busy.
staying busy.
That's awesome.
And then we're trying to link up with we have plans to link up with Pat from Unsister Tactical.
Oh, great.
And Sky Pirate down in North Carolina. Pat's gonna come to North Carolina. We're gonna go to North Carolina, and we're gonna host hopefully what we're talking about, like a 3 or 4 day covert entry, patrolling 2, covert entry, site exploitation, or have a goal once you're in there and then get back out and exfil, and maybe have like a little E&E route. like comms go down, all of a sudden you got to go to your alternate route. stuff like
Cool.
that. So I had like culminating exercise maybe.
That's great, man. That's great. Well, and that's such
we're trying.
that's such a huge thing for training that, you know, the training doesn't stop once you hit the objective. You know, there are the following things need to happen that needs to be trained. You know, people lose sight of that. People don't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
It's a lot of stuff, man. It's a lot of stuff to plan. A lot of logistics, because like in our courses, when you pay for one of our courses, like we're paying all ammo. We're covering you for all ammo, food, water, and you don't need to bring anything but your own gear. And if you don't have a weapon, say you're flying in, usually we have a weapon that's available for you. So it's, you know, you're getting a lot out of your money with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're not
Making it count.
We're not charging a lot.
You're making it count
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Well, we really appreciate you coming on. You know, we waited a long time to get you on, and I'm so glad that we did. So, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate your perspective and what you had to say. Could you go ahead and shout out where can people find you?
yeah, man. So on Instagram, you can find me or my buddy at Future Conflicts on Instagram. You can find me at Ghost Element with 2 underscores between the words. So at Ghost _ Element. You can find me at Lost Generation Appalachian as well. That's in my backup page. And you can find us on YouTube at Future Conflicts. You can find us on Spotify at Future Conflicts. For the podcast, you can find us futureconflicts.com.
Cool. Thanks a lot, man. We really appreciate you having on. A lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. This is the Hard Time Strongman training up at Bear Class of Man with Ghost Element. As always, stay in the fight.